Hello, welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast. No more excuses. I am your host on video again, Sandy Ballard, the badass business coach, and that's an umbrella that's kind of being knocked around in the wind a little bit. I am actually in Indianapolis, Indiana, with a week of badassness. So thanks for being here and joining me and sharing the podcast with others. And this week it's going to be about doing things a little differently because it's been a little crazy traveling for 2 weeks with team building events, workshops, giving back to the community, fundraising events, as well as my own client meetings and my women's group events. So I've had to do a lot of things differently the last couple weeks. And so you're going to hear some road noise, some whatever, because I'm doing things differently. I'm doing this as my third live or third recording, but also I'm outside at my friend's house because I didn't have anywhere else to record. So why not, right? Sometimes you just have to overcome and adapt. And that's just how it is, especially when you're traveling. Thank goodness we can travel again, right? So, that's what I want to talk about this week, about doing things differently. A couple things I've had to do differently is, I did 2 walks, more like power walks with my friend instead of running. And that was pretty interesting. We were sweating our asses off. We were huffing and puffing. And it was just obviously a completely different path. It was a path I used to run a lot when I lived back here in Indy. And instead of leaving her and running, and that's the neighbor's dog, there you go. Instead of leaving her and running, I decided to walk with her, and we just got to catch up. It was a great opportunity. So, thinking about that, as you are doing things differently, or you think about doing things differently, getting out of the norm. As much as I love habits, I talk about them all the time, and especially the book Atomic Habits, which is the kind of the cool science behind habits, about why people have good habits, bad habits, why they can't break habits, and how to break them. But anyway, I love habits. So if you've listened for a while, you know that. But, so things come from doing things differently. I've talked about that a lot in my podcast and in my coaching sessions with my clients is, doing things the old way. What is that? Insanity. If you continue to do things over and over the same way and expect different results, yep, insanity. And that's the neighbor yelling at her dog. So we're just going to figure it out, right? So anyway, and then the thing I've been doing differently, obviously, to appease some people, was to start recording these live, or recording these video, so video cast, and then sharing the video and the just audio on a traditional podcast platform, because that is how some people like to do this. So what can you do differently, as we have 2 weeks left in September, and we'll be in the fourth quarter before we know it. And then people always say, oh, winter, I slow down in winter, or some companies speed up in winter, and other people hibernate. I hibernated in winter. Didn't mean I stopped working, but I did hibernate in winter until I moved to California. And now it's just, I can do things differently. I was just talking with my friend about that on our power walk this morning, about how it is a little strange not to see snow, not to have negative degree temperatures, not to worry about the weather and ice and snow. Obviously, there are parts of California that do that, but, not as many. And really none that I want to go to, right? So doing things differently, personally and professionally, to help you achieve the goals you desire. Last week I talked about keep moving, and the week before, just about looking at your to-do list and making sure what's on your to-do list is really what you need to be doing. And that is so true right now, as we're facing that fourth quarter. What can you do a little differently? And I may sound like a broken record, but sometimes I have to get the message across. And for me as well, doing things differently, taking this chance. I wasn't afraid of the video. I just wasn't sure I could be consistent with it. And then with traveling, I just didn't have the time to do the recordings and all that beforehand. So I was like, why not? It's Monday. I'm doing things differently. I'm overcoming and adapting and doing it how and when I can. And I still wanted to make sure I got this message to you. So think about that today. Think about whenever you're listening to this. And this week, follow me on social media, obviously, to continue that challenge, to get you to think differently, to do things a little differently, and maybe get some improved results, different results, better results. That's up to you to find out, right? So what is a goal that you've been working on? Maybe you know, have been frustrated with achieving something. I mean, the easy one for everyone, most everyone, is losing weight, right? Yeah, I have some friends that don't need to be losing weight, but that's always like the big thing. I need to lose weight. I need to eat healthier. I need to. I know what I need to do, but that is in one of my books, right? Um, well, you know what you need to do, but so what can you do differently to help you achieve that goal, to help you eat better, to lose weight, to get healthier, right? Because it's not always about losing weight. It's about just being the healthiest version of you can be, right? And then I had a conversation with someone this morning. His business is just 6 months old. And it was like, well, what are you doing? What have you done so far? And what can you do differently? And what else can you do? So we talked through a few things like that, thinking about where are you networking, where are you marketing and advertising, how are you getting your clients? Is there a different way you can go about it to help you achieve the results you want, maybe increase your business? So if sales goals or increased revenue is one of your goals and you've sort of just flatlined, or maybe it's just trickling up a little bit, what can you do differently? Think about your ask, your commercial, your elevator pitch, whatever it is that you are doing to ask for the clients you want. Think about that. Are you just going out kind of selling, or are you that neighbor is trying to train her dog and it's not working too well. So hopefully you can't hear that. Anyway, what is your ask? Do you need to narrow down who you're asking for? Do you need to perhaps meet with people who are more referral partners than just where your clients are? I mean, or both. Think about that. For me as a coach, my best referral partners should be CPAs, financial advisors, business bankers, business attorneys, and a lot of times commercial realtors. And I'm probably forgetting one in there, but I'm doing this on the fly with no script. So there you go, doing things differently. Um, and so, I can meet with those people more and maybe get a better um, referral funnel, sales funnel to go through. Or I can go to chamber events, BNI, other networking events, and try to sell to my clients. I also, years ago, before COVID and recently starting back up, is speak to groups. So I wasn't just selling, I was educating them. And then most of the time I'd get at least one or two clients out of it, or I'd sell a book. So that was kind of cool. So, just thinking outside the box differently. Years ago when I had my marketing firm, clients, yes, I had a marketing firm. Um, I would tell clients they would want to go to a trade show. So they'd want to get the trifold brochures and get the candy and get their signage and all this stuff. And my business partner and we would talk about, well, my role was to ask why, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do that? And so we always would get with them and strategize and think about, okay, what if you didn't just have a booth at a trade show? What if you sponsored a luncheon, sponsored a session, spoke at a session, or maybe um, you know, sometimes they have like libraries or trade show booths, things like that. So it's not the traditional booth; it's more of a resource booth, things like that. So you can do things a little differently because sometimes sitting at a table, and especially sitting behind a table. Ugh, I hate when people do that. Just waiting on people to come up, it's uncomfortable. You can tell when no one wants to talk to you because they look away. They don't make eye contact. It just can be demeaning. It can be fun, and it can be demeaning. So you really need to think through, if you've done it in the past, what's your strategy? How are you going to get people over to you? First tip would be stand or get a high bar stool. I've seen people sit outside of their booth, and I always suggest at least doing that, or standing in front of their table instead of behind it. Communicate, connect, just talk with the people that are coming by, and not just sitting behind there waiting for people to come by and hoping that they're doing more than just grabbing your free candy and swag, right? So, again, do things differently. So, no matter what it is you have coming up to do, have you done it before? What are the results? And how can you do it differently to achieve even more or better results, right? So that's really it this week, today. And then this week, watch for our social media posts. Feel free to connect with me. Email me, sandy@sandyballard.com, if you have some questions or you want to talk through an idea. Like I said, I always give people a free 30-minute consultation, or just conversation. It's more of just a conversation like it was this morning, and then go from there. So, you have a little thought you want to go over with me. Just had someone message me and say, "Hey, can I buy you a cocktail?" And I want to pick your brain about my new adventure, his new career move. So, that's kind of cool. So just let me know if I can help, if you have a question. Otherwise, think about what you have coming up or what you've done in the past and how you can do it differently, right? There's no more insanity here. Have a great week. I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.